G'day guys, welcome back to Beers and Breakevens. Today we're going through the front row forwards and the two RFs. Very interesting conversation. Bringing in my 5'8", T-Rex. Welcome, Timmy. Doing?
Roo, not a heap doing, mate. Just been counting down the days on the calendar. You take off to Vegas next week and I get a week spell from you. So to get that at this time of year, it's pretty special.
Give you the hot tip. Two of us are excited for Vegas all of a sudden. How bloody good. Catmandu is back in the studio. The Rook, how are we?
Very well, very well. I like the emergence of Catmandu.
Yeah, it's come on quickly.
It has.
Yeah, it has. Cat in a hat, doing good things. Mate, the league, it is absolutely flying at the moment. 4,100 people in there. I reckon we can get to 10K by the time the season starts. What are your thoughts?
I think we can do it, and that's before the major prize announcement as well. So,
Bit of Bicky up for grabs. Let me tell you that for free. What is the league code, mate?
339640. Get amongst it.
Disco stew stuff somewhere here. Whilst you're in there, Timmy, I actually discovered the other day that there's a function in the league where you can leave messages on the message board. I left a little something in there for you if you want to read it out live on the show. I think it might make for some funny little content that I think people will enjoy. Whilst Timmy is looking for that, and he will notify me when he finds it, because I actually wrote it, Kat, and then it took me about 20 minutes to find it again because I'm not great at technology. So I'm very keen to see if Timmy's able to find it because I really battled there. Kat, have you made any changes to the side whilst Timmy looks for that?
To my side, I have. Based on our conversation last week, I brought in a few new people and a few stayed as well. I felt more confident about some of my decisions. For example, leaving the hammer on my side. I feel good about it. It's exciting. It's new. I'm the Rook. I can get away with doing something a bit different, you know?
You can get away with going a little bit rogue.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. Timmy, have you found the message board?
I haven't yet, mate, and also I didn't actually have it open. I have the code in my notes, so like there was a bit of work to do.
Good, I'll read it out for you. This is a little message from Guru's Grizzlies.
No, I've got it. Sorry for the jabs, Timmy. Please don't stop giving me advice this year.
Please.
Hit us.
Hey guys, just a bit of housekeeping. Tim asked me to tell you all that he thinks you're all cowards and he's going to slap all of you this year. I just want to wish you all the best this year. May the best coach win. I also donate to charity regularly. Tim does not. His words, not mine.
Oh, all very fair.
The shots have started.
It begins.
And I'm heaps into it. So yeah, we might keep an eye on the message board. If anyone can put some funnies in there over the next few weeks, you might get a bait on the show.
The beauty of it as well, Guru, is that to win the major prize, you have to knock us both off. So I plan on pocketing whatever that prize might be.
Geez, I'd love to take home the prize.
Be good.
Yeah, I know there would be other, content creators out there that would go, no, I'll give it to who came second if I win it. See ya.
Yeah.
I'm going to Vegas again.
I've done the hard yards.
Yeah, unlucky. 100%. I'll take my 5K and hit the road. Sorry, Kat. So what changes have you made over the last week or so again?
Well, I added in Hammer. I kept him there. I'm sticking by my, and to your disappointment, Timmy, those Raiders players are staying in there, these young guns. I'm really hoping to get some good stuff out of those ones.
I hope you're right.
So do I. And you know what? Tom Trbojevic. He's in there.
Yeah, right. Interesting. I think he might get a feature in a few teams here just quietly.
I'm very excited about him.
Now, what allows us to potentially get Tommy Turbo is maybe going a little bit cheaper in the front row forward, Timmy, which is one of the great segues of all time. Thank you. Thank you.
Better efforts.
I'm here till next Tuesday, then I'll be in Vegas. What's your strategy? What are you thinking with front row forward? And I think the only other thing to add before we do get into it is that when we've been doing these positions the last few weeks, we didn't have trials to go off. Now we do. We've seen a little bit. We've probably got a general better idea of the direction we're actually going to go. So chat might be a little bit more concise today, I guess you could say, Timbo.
Yeah, I think around the front row we will. We'll touch on anything required, but obviously doing the 2RF second row deep dive as well, and there's a ton to get through there. So
absolute ton, yeah. Strategy-wise, talk to me.
Really fascinating position, which I don't often say about front row, but the strategy around the round one team is fascinating because I think we're both pretty similar in that we're never keen to pay it for front row. I've never done it.
Yep.
I don't feel like I've ever been hurt by it. This year won't be different. I haven't even tinkered with the idea of Tino or Payne Haas or AFB, etc. in my team to start the season. That won't be changing. I'm actually considering going the complete opposite. Sammy Hughes is one that's emerged that we sort of knew that he was going to be a decent front row forward option to plug in sides to start the year and hopefully earn a bit of cash at the Doggies. But looked really good in the trial on the weekend. The more that's come out from there is just big raps, big raps. I'm generally starting to think maybe I can plug Sammy Hughes as a starter for that first 4 to 5 weeks before I can make a move. And if he can just get me, honestly, it doesn't have to be much. If he can knock me up 40 to 45 points each week, paired with, say, maybe a mid-range front row that we'll get to shortly, I'm looking at doing that. There is risk in it because if it doesn't eventuate and you've got, say, a mid-ranger and 3 cheapies and none of the 3 cheapies are doing any good and you're forced to play one, really hard work finding sort of cash to get them to a decent player. But it's a risk that I'm leaning towards taking.
Yep, I'm leaning towards the same direction. I think cheap is the way to go. We are notoriously guys that don't have Payne Haas, and I don't. At no point ever do I remember it hurting me. I see a lot of people on social saying, "Oh, it hurts you too much not to have him." I give you the hot tip: it fucking doesn't.
No.
It's great that he averages 70. That's great. But if I can save 500K and spend that in a position that can get me 150s, I'll happily take Sam Hughes' 45.
That's it, man. Just about every Supercoach side out there structures this season. Look, it's not different to any other season, but everyone is stacked in fullback, halfback, potentially 5'8" if they're paying up for, say, Dylan Brown, and then maybe hooker if you're going a Harry Grant or to a lesser degree, Jeremy Marshall-King. You know, they're all big money positions. So you've got to cut somewhere.
100%. And I think front row forward is the spot to do it.
Yeah.
I've got a very same opinion when it comes to draft as well. I actually drafted Sam Hughes as my 18th pick because I'm just happy to have him as a starting front row forward there. So, I think that'll be both of our strategies. Kat, what are you thinking as far as front row forward? One of the trickier positions to sort of work out.
I actually have Hughes as well.
Yep.
He's currently on my bench as a front rower. And then I'm looking at the likes of May and Leniu from Roosters. And I wouldn't say big money either because I don't have the money to spend on those guys either, your Tarpanis and AFBs and whatnot. But I do have Ruben Cotter in there at the moment as well.
I was going to get to him. My God, his ownership is high. Very interesting.
I started with him last year.
I remember.
And he got injured early, like maybe around 2 or 3 or something. And he was sort of going half all right without setting the world alight. And I don't have him at the moment, but I don't mind him as a pick this year.
I think the Cowboys captaincy might be swaying people a little bit. I drafted him on the weekend, so I hope you're all right. That'd be unreal if Cotter goes big. Mate, should we go through the list of front row forwards? What we're going to do today, guys, though, we're going to actually go through the ownership in that sort of order. Yep. So if you want to go to your Supercoach app, if you've got gold, hit ownership percentage. We're going to go down that list. The first man, Payne Haas, 37%. I think 37% is massive overs, but I am happy for you to all have him. If you guys want to get that up to 97%, I'm fine with it. Timmy?
Yeah, look, we've spoken a lot about Payne Haas, and if you get him in, he's completely reliable. You know what you're going to get. He'll come out and he'll probably average anywhere from 70 to potentially 80 at the start of the season. If he does come out and scores a couple of tries or there's injuries and he plays huge minutes and he averages around 80 to 85, it'll be like, okay, like well played to anyone who did and that's solid. I'm still not too deterred by not owning him and spending up elsewhere. I think realistically he comes out and he averages more 70 to 75 to start the season, in which case I'm very, very happy to spend my money elsewhere. On his numbers from last season. So he averaged 74 last year. That was up from 63 and 68 the years before. Didn't score a century last year. Had 2 tons to his name in the last 4 years. They were scores of 105 and 106. That tells us, obviously, that his consistency for those averages is phenomenal. But he's not going to hurt you by not owning because he's not going to come out and go 150, 150.
Yeah, and you know what? He shouldn't have too many hundreds. He's a front row forward, and that's fine. But you all talk about him like he scores 100 every second week. He doesn't. Origin period, he's going to play limited minutes and stuff throughout there. I understand people find him appealing because Flegler's left. I actually don't think Payne Haas's minutes are going to change that much.
He's not going to play more minutes because Tom Flegler left.
Exactly.
He already averaged, 60, 65 minutes a game or so.
Yeah.
He was...
yeah, not for me.
He averaged 59 minutes per game last year. And that's, again, all over the shop because getting some fewer minutes around the origin time, there always will be some injury-affected games where he can go 70 to 80 when needed. But I would say that 59 across the course of a season will be his average minutes.
Yep, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Yep. So Payne Haas, no bueno from us. Sam Hughes, we sort of already touched on him, 238K. I am leaning towards having him as one of my starting front row forwards, but it'll be much of a muchness between him and my bench guys. Is Sam Hughes a must-have guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like at that price in a club lacking middles, on all the hype we've seen around him, and he looks like he'll have a few tackle busts and a few offloads in him as well to boot. Looks like he can play some decent minutes. The big question is just going to be, is he good enough to start in your team? Because there's no reason why he also can't come out and average 30. And again, if you're spending that much money on a starter, it's not going to kill you, but far from ideal.
Yeah, I think he just watch him on team lists and whatnot, but I'm pretty confident Sam Hughes is going to be okay.
Yeah.
Next one there is Viliami Fafita. He's dual position. He's at the Dragons. Once again, just a team list watch. We'll see how he goes. If he does manage to nab a spot in that team, we'll deal with that then.
Yeah, very much a team list watch.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, is he even going to get picked?
I'm not convinced he will.
I'm not convinced he will at all. And if he does, it might be off the bench in very limited minutes. So I'd need to see a lot more to even consider him.
All I can see here is that I think he does play at some point this year. I think we'll be talking about at some point. Dual position, maybe teams are just throwing him in there as a placeholder.
Yeah, especially if Luciano Leilua does lob there before the season. Well, then it'd be an absolute line through.
Yeah. Ruben Cotter, Tino. Tino's too expensive for me to start the season. Dual position is nice. Ruben Cotter, though, I find this one very interesting at 26%. What do you read into this?
I like it.
Okay.
He's just a little bit too expensive for my liking. But again, it's hard to maybe... It's just that it's easy to be swayed by the fact that he's just been given the captaincy. He averaged 54 minutes last season. So when I look at front rowers for round one... First thing I do is go, who is going to play increased minutes and up their scores? Because that's the biggest factor in all of it for front row. The biggest indicator of are they going to improve or not. Probably doesn't improve on 54 minutes. I mean, I can see him coming out and averaging 60 minutes, but I don't think it's going to be many more. He played a few games around the 65-minute mark last season. Again, it's another... Every one of these front rowers is so team list dependent round one because we need to see if there's utility back named on the bench. If it's a bunnies like a Peter Mamazelos, a little hooker gets named on the bench, it's going to open up bigger minutes for the middles. The Cowboys have so many middles, they could go with a 4-forward bench, in which case you couldn't go near Cotter. Depending on how the bench lands, maybe. What do you reckon?
Just on that little nugget of knowledge there, we're talking pre-show, we're hearing Mamazelos will be named. So be aware of that. Damien Cook draft players, Sean Kepi for Classic, makes him a little bit more interesting. We'll get to him soon though. Ruben Cotter, not for me. I think the captaincy is an interesting one, but I don't really want to spend 550K.
I'm the exact same, yeah. And
450, different story.
Yeah, 450 I would get him in it, and I think from memory it'll be somewhere far out. He started at 623K last year. That was a good round one trade in.
I was going to mention before that you're an idiot, but
happy to do it for you. He came out, to be fair, he came out last year, round one, played 67 minutes and had 63 in base.
Yeah, that's mad.
Then week 2, decent as well, then got injured in the third game, so screw you.
Just feels like a bit of an origin player, Cotter. Would have seen that coming. Number 6, Kat has him in his team. I'm cooling on Spencer Leniu rapidly. I just don't think his role changes at the Roosters. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I was never keen on him.
Yeah.
More than happy to be wrong. I just think he plays the same role at Penrith. And I've said this a few times across different podcasts, but so many times across the course of Leniu's career so far, Ivan Cleary had opportunities to play him as a starter when Fisher Harris was out or Leota was out or whatever it might have been. And he just never did. He averaged 33 minutes last year, 29 in 2022 and 29 in 2021. The Roosters' middles are stacked as well. They have so many forwards. Could easily have a 4 middle forward bench, especially with their 14s, every chance to be Connor Watson, who's probably going to be utilised as a lock. I just don't see how Leniu's going to get enough minutes.
And the hooker he replaces could quite easily become a middle forward as well. So, I think that people that go Spencer Leniu, I wouldn't be shocked if you get a little bit of an uptick round one. I believe JWH is out of Vegas, so I reckon he's going to honey-dick you very early.
If he comes out the first 2 rounds and plays 40 to 45 minutes and he's averaging 10 to 15 more per game, I'll buy him around 330K. But I don't think it's going to happen.
Even then, I reckon we'll have priorities elsewhere.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to leave him. If he goes well for you, so be it.
You'll be desperate to get Hammer in by that time.
Tell me about it. Xavier Willison, 265K. Look, we're obviously pending team list here. I think he's pretty close to a must-have guy. I think he's locked himself into that Brisbane Broncos side. I will be starting with him. We will get to have a look at him in Vegas, so we'll get to see the early team list to make sure he is there. And we'll be keeping an eye on team lists. Obviously, if he gets pulled out of the 17 or whatever, take him out ASAP, move somewhere else. But I'm pretty confident on Xavier Willison to be one of my bench front row forwards at the moment, mate.
Looks the good. Quite impressive in the All-Stars game. Yep. You know, he's been biding his time behind Haas, Carrigan, Flegler, etc. With Flegler gone from the Broncos this year, should open up some half-right minutes. And, yeah, look, not the one that I'm looking to start in my team, but chip away on the bench, hopefully earn a bit of cash and deal with that, hopefully upgrade him later on.
Yeah, love that. I've seen a lot of people talking about Tommy Flegler. I think Tommy Flegler is who Tommy Flegler is. I don't think you're going to see all that much upside going to the Dolphins. I understand the logic of he was behind Payne Haas, he moved somewhere else. I don't think there's actually going to be that much gain in Flegler. What are your thoughts?
I don't mind Tommy Flegler, and it's one of the ones probably where, a bit like teammate in the Hammer,
Yep.
the data probably doesn't scream massive improvement, but the talent does. He's such a good footballer. He's such a good ball runner. The numbers, though. So if we're going off last year, he averaged 44 minutes last year and 47 points in that time. I don't think he's going to play much more than that. Maybe he gets to 50 minutes.
Yep.
Would that warrant how much would he improve average-wise off the back of that? Probably not a heap. Maybe another 5 or so points. Again, the Dolphins have so much depth in their middle this year. Like Jared Wallace might not even get picked on the bench. They've got that many middle options. So I don't mind him. It's more of a, if I was going to go him, it'd be more gut feel than, as I said, statistically speaking. 37 in base last year. Solid, but not amazing. So, yeah, I'm looking elsewhere, but he has been in and out of my teams at times during the preseason.
I think Flegler is a better footballer than he is Super Coach player, is my vibe.
I think he's got a terrific offload on him, and I wish at the Broncos he utilised it more. I'm not convinced that Wayne Bennett's brand of football allows for offloading, and I threw that on social media the other day, and some bloke was into me about Jared Wallace having 40 offloads or something. He's a rogue, Jared Wallace. Yes. Jared Wallace does what he wants. They averaged, I think it was 10th in the NRL for offloads last year, the Dolphins, which is not terrible to be fair, but we know that Wayne Bennett coached teams a high percentage. They're like high completion rate, will grind you away, complete. I want to see Tommy Flegler coming out and offloading, and maybe that's where the uptick would be, but I'm not convinced it'll happen under Wayne Bennett.
Yeah, completely agree with that. I'm not keen. Joey Tarpanay, he killed it in the All-Stars the other day. Sounds like he's doing great things in Canberra. I just don't want to spend that money. Any value there, mate?
I don't think there's value just because he always starts in lower game time.
Yep.
And Ricky Stewart's happy to ease him into the season. Like his first 5 games last season, 50 minutes, 47, 46, 56, 49, 50. Across the season, he averaged 54 minutes, so that increased quite substantially by the end of the year. Ricky's always done it with him. Another team, the Raiders, so many middle forwards. He was incredible in the All-Stars game. Could have been man of the match, except they got dusted. Scored a terrific try to open it up. On all reports, has had a killer preseason. But I don't want to pay up for someone that I think is going to start in lower minutes. Not for me. Yep.
Kenan Palacio, I've seen a few people talk about him. 365K, the price is good. I just don't think he will get all that many minutes with your Mo Footawakers, your Tinos, with your Jermaine Joliffe. I think he's a very good NRL signing. I don't think Supercoach White will get the minutes. And to be honest with you, his scores, even when he's playing 50 minutes, which I give him next to no hope of playing at the Titans, he's basing 40-odd. Not for me.
He averaged 41 minutes last year, which really surprised me.
Yeah, that is surprising, actually, yes.
36 points in that time, so couldn't go at, even overly close to a point per minute, which we sort of want to see from our middles, especially if they're... We know with middles, the greater minutes they play, the PPM is going to drop down. So if he's 36 last year and a PPM of 0.88, that's going to drop down again.
Yep.
So I think he's someone who could factor during the year, but it'd need injuries to like Tino for one.
Yeah, completely agree. AFB's the next man, 740K. Maybe he can score fucking 1,000 tries again in a season. I won't be betting on it. I don't think we had AFB at any point last year, and I don't think I'll have him at any point this year.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say I'm not going to own him this year, but I certainly won't be starting with him. 73 points per game in 60 minutes per game. Last season he had 8 tries. We know he's a try scoring front rower, but that's a lot for any front rower. He also had a few try assists on top of that. It's a lot of money to pay for front rower round one who could play fewer minutes, etc.
A lot of Bicky. Hetherington, Taumalolo. Taumalolo's at good value. I have to see it before I look at him. Agreed?
Very much so. But
if I see a glimpse.
If I see it, dual front row, second row. Not that you'd want to be picking him in second row because there's way better options, but
handy to have.
At 439K, he averaged 43 points last year in 49 minutes. The years before that, he averaged 55 minutes, 59 minutes, 61 minutes. You go back to 2020, he averaged 72 points per game. Now, I don't think he's going to get back to 61 minutes, but if you could get back to, you know what, even if he played 50 minutes at that price, but he's fit and healthy and he's busting tackles and offloading, I think he could be a great buy.
Yeah.
But as you said, I just need to see it first because it's been a couple of years since we've seen him at his destructive tackle-breaking best.
Yeah. A guy that I think could become relevant very quickly is Liam Henry. He's at 6% in ownership from the Penrith Panthers. He's probably my tip to take that Spencer Leniu role. The Panthers obviously haven't played a preseason trial. We'll see them in the World Club Challenge next week. Liam Henry, 238K. He's in my team at the moment as a placeholder. Happy to move him, but I think he'll become relevant pretty quickly.
Yeah. I mean, even if he does nab a bench spot round one, I don't think there's going to be the minutes there to warrant starting him, would there? Like, there'd need to probably be an injury, do you think?
Mate, at 238K, I really like him. I think he could average 40-odd off the bench.
Really?
He gets through a lot of work. I like Liam Henry. Happy to fall on my sword if it doesn't work out that way. And I'm hoping there will be better options, which at the moment looks like there could be. But just he's a big watch for me in this World Club Challenge. He might not get the spot. Maybe they go with like a Maverick guy or someone. But I really like Liam Henry. So maybe a bit of bias in that, but one to keep an eye on.
So my predicted team for them at the moment, like the starting side picks itself, Penrith, and middles, Leota, Fisher-Harris, Yo.
Yep.
I've got Lindsay Smith, Luke Garner, Matt Eisenhuth on the bench, Tyrone Peachy 14. I'm not the bench could be a makeup of anything. Even if that's a 4-forward bench, regardless, depending on where and how they want to inject Tyrone Peachy. Tyrone Peachy could also be like Sonny Luke. There are a few options there. Like, who do you see him sneaking on for? Absolutely could. I just don't with so many middles on the bench. I'm not sure.
Yeah, who'd you say then? Matt Eisenhuth, Peachy.
Lindsay Smith, Luke Garner.
Yeah, I'm not totally convinced on Lindsay Smith, to be honest with you. I thought in the finals he let them down a little bit last year. I think Liam Henry's a little bit cheaper and with a big future. We'll see. He might not be named at all, but he's one that I'm interested in. We'll see how it plays out.
Even if named, barring a real lack of front and forward cheapies, I don't think I'd pick him even if off the bench.
I'll tell you what is another watch for me this year, and James Graham brought it up on a show with us last year, which I thought was really interesting. I do wonder if maybe they split these starting front row forwards up now that they don't have Spencer Leniu coming off the bench.
Interesting. Potentially.
Just all potential. We'll see how it plays out. But that, as soon as James Graham said it, I was like, fuck, that kind of makes sense. To start the season anyway, that wouldn't shock me. See how that plays out. Benny Takura scored a try on the weekend, looked good. I think there's too many guys in front of him at the Broncos at the moment. Looks a little bit too raw now.
Yeah, I don't think so yet.
Liam Knight, 332K. Mate, the amount of attention Liam Knight got during the off-season from Super Coach people has knocked me for 6. I personally thought I would never was interested, but I don't know if he played his way out of that Canterbury side on the weekend.
Yeah, and again, he averaged 32 minutes last year.
Yeah.
And he's always been a sort of a point-per-minute player, a tick over at the Bunnies, 330K. He doesn't interest me at all.
Terrell May, do not buy him. Do not buy him. None of you don't go fucking near him. Me and Tim have been very, very keen from the early days on Terrell May. He's starting to get a little bit more popular now. I will be starting with him as one of my starting front row forwards, and I think he absolutely explodes this year, Timmy.
Yes, he's very recently found his way into my team, and when I say that, it's off the back of the trial on the weekend. And why he wasn't in my team originally, or my early preseason draft sides, was just the talk of him leaving the club.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, there's a lot of middle forwards and only a certain amount of time to go around there. Sounds like the doggies aren't keen on him anymore. There's talk of him re-signing with the Roosters. Came out on the weekend, albeit against sort of a weaker Manly side, and just he brained it, didn't he? So 14 runs for 169 metres. More impressive, though, from a Supercoach perspective. 4 tackle busts in that time, couple of offloads, starts cheap.
I said it 6 weeks ago. I don't care how much time he plays. It's the impact he has, Terrell May. I think he's going to have a huge season for the Chooks and a great Supercoach season.
I am concerned, like, going back to Spencer Leniu, 4 middle forward bench they could run out with. That is a concern. Like, he minutes last year.
Yeah, but I also think when you got to the back end of the season was on the line. Their best front row forward was Terrell May. I just think Robbo will give him a license to offload and go nuts. He goes against all the Supercoach rules we normally have, but I think he's that good that he's going to rise above it.
How, if you were guessing, put you on the spot, how many minutes does he play? Let's say that 4 forward bench is named.
30 to 40. I can't stress enough, though, I don't fucking care. I just think he is going to have so much upside in him at that price. I'm happy to run with him.
Yeah, I'm slotting him in. Fair.
Maxi King comes next. Fletcher Baker. Fletcher Baker, we'll see if he gets a gig in that Broncos side, but we sort of said 6 weeks ago when we first started Beers and Breakevens this year that we thought people would jump ahead of Fletcher Baker. Happy to see how he goes, but yeah, I think Xavier Willison is in front of him at the moment.
Yep, not interested.
Not interested. Jai Arrow, dual position, playing on the right edge. Fucking crazy. We spoke about this weeks ago about Colin Matungi moving to the left. Everyone at South Sydney told me it's bullshit. He comes out trial 1, plays left edge. Jai Arrow sounds like he'll jump on the right edge. And then from what I've heard, sounds like him and Cam Murray could switch at some point.
And what Arrow would... On what you've heard, how many minutes?
No idea.
I don't mind Arrow as a mid-ranger, 466K.
God, it's cheap.
I know. And the potential for an 80-minute edge back rower at the Bunnies, like originally when I heard Colin Matungi was going to the left and Arrow's on the right, I was like, oh, it's not really where you want to be. But at the same time, the left edge back rower also gets cut out a hell of a lot on it. Whereas I can see Ilias hitting Arrow short on the right a lot.
The amount of people that think the left edge back row is the spot to be, it's the fucking opposite. Watch the game.
Because they play out the back. Cody plays out the back to Trell.
It's the best decoy in rugby league.
Yeah.
Never gets the ball. It doesn't make it. I think it's all about defense, getting Colin Matungi over there.
Yeah, and getting Arrow next to Ilias defensively.
Yes. Yeah.
Because attacking-wise, because Colin Matungi's such a good strike weapon on the right edge, I actually hate that they're doing that. But defensively and getting Arrow there, I understand it. So Arrow, 46 average last year from 50 minutes. Spent time on the edge in 2022, I think it was. He averaged 56 that year. Might have gone between the positions, but he scored quite well in big minutes on the edge. Gun attacking team. Should be some attacking opportunities. I'm pretty keen on him.
Keelan Colin scored 5 tries on that edge last year. He only played 18 games. One of them was injury affected. So 5 tries in 17 games is 1 every 3. It's not a bad nudge.
Take that from a back rower.
100%. I don't mind Jairo. I won't start with him, but I can understand the appeal.
On the negative, it's like I do. Especially if he's on the edge, sure, there's higher attacking upside, but he'll get through less work. So you do probably need him playing 80. You could get away with 65. Anything less than 65, he probably does plot around that 50 average and doesn't do much for you. That being said, if you can average 50 for me to start the season and he can plug a hole until I can upgrade him to a gun, I can handle that.
Yeah, I can understand. I won't be doing it, but I can understand it. Sean Kepi, dual position. If Peter Mamazelis, which we're hearing there is a good shot, he will be the 14 for the Bunnies in round 1. I thought he was really good on the weekend. But previous numbers, I think you've got some. They're a little bit alarming, aren't they?
He averaged 41 minutes last year for Manly.
Who felt like they had no middle forwards.
Yeah, and that was in averaged 38 points in that time. So he's been under a point per minute 3 years in a row. 41 minutes isn't limited game time, but I agree. I thought he looked great on the weekend. Threw a nice little offload for one of the tries there. Again, where's the uptick?
Yep.
Is he going to play more minutes than that? He would need to be given, I've said this a few times, but it's so relevant to the position. He needs a license to offload because he's got a good one on him. If he does that at the Bunnies and he can add 5-10 points in offloads alone, cool, he becomes relevant. But as it stands, I'm not interested.
Tell me if you hear a name that stands out to you. Lindsay Collins, Fisher Harris, Colhoun, Jake Travojevic, Leota, Leo Thompson, Tavita Totola.
Yeah, I'm not that keen on him, but I have seen a lot of interest.
Yeah, I'm not buying into it.
Totola averaged 44 minutes last year.
Yep.
43 points. Totola's not going to play many more than 44 minutes. Like, could play less potentially. I think he's a 45-minute forward.
I don't think he'll play less, but I don't think he'll play more than 50.
Nah, and here's what you get what you're given. Like, he doesn't really bust tackles. He's not an offloader. Doesn't really jag attacking stats. I don't see any upside to it.
Yep, I don't love it. Shani Finu, Matty Croker, JDB, Joe Offengawi, Cohen Hess, Junior Polo, Pasami Solo, Nas, Farmer Silly from the Canterbury Bulldogs. I thought he looked good in his trial the other day. Minutes, I don't think he'll get a stack of them. So I'd rather go with other options if they are available.
Looked good in the trial. Really explosive run to set up a try on the next tackle.
Yep.
Could be a tackle buster, an offloader. Just got gassed very quickly. So I don't know how many minutes he's got in him.
Adam Mariota, any interest?
Yeah, I do actually. Especially with Corey Horsburgh's gone to, I think it's round 3, which is obviously not ideal, but Mariota was great last season. Apparently he's been enormous this preseason. I think he's every chance to start in round 1. 24 minutes per game last year. If that can notch up to 40, I think he's won at the price, $255K, that he could be an improver.
Yeah, for sure. My only worry is with Corey Horsburgh out early, we might see Mariota start week 1 and then go back to the bench. That's the only worry I have.
Far from foolproof.
Yeah.
I think he's one that if there is a lack of other cheapies in the front row, I'll plug him in.
Yep.
But we'd have to see a few fall off the radar.
Harmsele, 425K, moving clubs. People are talking about upside there. Mate, I love Harmsele, but fuck, mate, the bloke just can't stay fit for 6 weeks straight. Just based on what I've seen, I really like Harmsele, but I don't think he's going to be a breakout super coach player.
Yeah, no interest from me.
Yep. RCG, David Moali. I thought he looked really good for South the other day. I feel like I've started with David Moali for 3 years in a row and he hasn't quite delivered. I think he'll be good this year. I'm still a little bit cautious. Maybe it's from being hurt previously.
Yeah, I'm definitely a little bit scarred from certainly last year. He's one that by round 3 or 4 we could be going, we need to get Davey in because he's playing 40 minutes and busting tackles and looking good. But just need to see the minutes and how many gets there. You know, Cam Murray playing in the middle will play big time. You mentioned Jairo might switch to the middle and spend some time there as well. There is some potential minutes to go around. I just don't know if Davey's going to get them early enough to be relevant, but he'll be a big watch in the early rounds.
Strap in, kid. Tell me when to stop. Josh Kerr, Hamlin Welle, Isaac Liu, Greg, Whittemore, Greg, Paseka, Papali'i, Jensen, Royce, The Choice, Hunt, Matty Eisenhuth, Mo Fodawaker, Jacob Saifidi, Toby Rudolph, Ben Murdoch, Masilla, Jaden Hunt, Daniel Saifidi. We're getting into real desperate areas here.
Yeah, there's a lot going on
Christian
there.
Welsh, Blake Laurie, Fanua Bode, Tom Ale, Jay Brom, Emre Gula, Shaq Mitchell, Lindsay Smith, JWH, Kai Rodwell. I'm not seeing anyone that's jumping out at me on this list, mate. Is there anyone else you want to mention? Any cheapies or anything
Nah,
you
mate,
maybe got your eyes on?
I was just enjoying listening to you run through a list and sound like a fool knowing I wasn't going to stop on anyone.
Peter Holler a sniff at a spot on the side, or surely he's too far down,
He's
isn't
got too many forwards at the Raiders.
Sweet.
Imagine you're an emerging player that's been a big fan of break and beers and breakevens for years, and then you just get your name completely skipped over by Guru.
Oh, well, can't win them all.
We did a 4-hour CBA show the other day, didn't we?
Yeah.
The emerging player can go and listen to that, and I'm sure he's been given a good rap. But unless he's going to start in Super Coach, I'm not keen. Sorry, kid.
Yeah, if you didn't get a mention in that show, I've probably got some hard news to break to you. All right, mate, are we sort of done front row forwards then?
I think we are. I think we've covered it well enough. As you said, we're pretty set on probably 3 of our players pending team list round 1.
Yeah.
And I think there'll be a lot of teams that have one slot that they're trying to work out. Do they pay up? Which mid-range do they go? I think that's where everyone's sort of sitting at the moment.
Yeah, hopefully another front row forward emerges. Got trials this weekend again. It'll only take one injury somewhere for someone to become very interesting.
It can change very quickly.
Yeah, very, very quickly. All right, guys, Blue Wealth Property are back on board for season 2024. We've got a major prize announcement coming very soon, so stay tuned for that. But Timmy, Blue Wealth Property back on board. How bloody good.
Absolute legends. We went and had a yarn out there the other day, didn't we? Had a what would you call it? A seminar? Some sort of
seminar,
event.
I would say. Yeah. It's like that scene out of Yes Man.
Had a bit of
It's good gear.
Morts was hosting and threw a few questions at us. And, mate, just watching you just dictate and control the room. Hands up if you've done this. Hands up if you've done this. Put your hands down when this happens, when this happens. I'm sitting there going, far out, he's good at this. Where does this come from? I'm like, he was a school teacher.
Not a good one, but was one. Yeah, that was good fun. They've got a couple of events coming up over the next couple of weeks. The 27th of February, the day I'm going to Vegas, so won't make it, unfortunately. Tony, can't win them all. Wealth Through Property live in Sydney Olympic Park. And Kat, you can also watch this via...
Webinar.
She's learning. She's learning. Under the wing, we're flying. Webinar, that one is at the Blue Zone, which is the Blue Wealth Property Office, Sydney Olympic Park, 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And then March 6, rent vesting, your specialty. Talk to us.
If you're not rent vesting, you're doing it wrong.
You're doing it wrong.
Yeah, gave a good spiel on that last week. If you're not rent vesting, just look into it, watch the webinar, attend the event, whatever's best. They're free to go to, free to watch.
I want to live in a Payne Haas, but I see an opportunity to live in a Sam Hughes to get myself to a Payne Haas, right?
Correct, yeah.
Not bad, huh?
Yeah, you've done it right there.
Watch your back, Tony. I'm coming for your job too, brother. How good. Rent vesting.
I want to be on a podcast with James Graham, but I'm stuck with the Rugby League Guru because he's all I can afford.
Very good once again. Very good. It's 2 of the great front row forwards of the game. Rent vesting, that's a special event. That one's on the 6th of March out there at the Blue Wealth offices. That is Sydney Olympic Park, 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And then Wealth Through Property, 12th of March, live in Adelaide at the Crown Plaza, Adelaide, 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. I do recall saying this last year and sort of going, we'll have no one from Adelaide that watches this show. We had a fair whack. So shout out to those Adelaideans. I think they call themselves Radaladians.
That's cool.
I don't think so. But shout out to them. Yeah, 12th of March, make sure you're there. Blue Wealth Property on board once again. We're going to be seeing Tony and Morts in the next few weeks.
We are coming in for the special edition.
Special edition. How good. Fantastic. All right. Get stuck into our 2RFs.
First.
Bit of magic on screen for you. We're going to get stuck into our 2RFs. How'd you go in the little boys' room, by the way? A successful mission?
Success, mate.
Yeah.
Bladders emptied.
Yeah, nice. Good to see.
Generally, the goal of going to the loo.
Yeah, I like to give you a pat on the back when I can, you know?
Thanks, mate.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to get stuck into our 2RFs now. A little bit more interest in the front row forwards, a little bit more points to be had, plenty of options. I think there's a couple of real slam dunk options here. I think the first one, mate, he's at 37% ownership. Shaun Lane, 446K. Similar to my favourite recess feed when I was a child, Dunkaroo. Thanks for coming.
Oh, Dunkaroo.
How good was a Dunkaroo?
So good.
What do they have? Chocolate, strawberry? I want to say there was a vanilla.
It's pretty much like Nutella, but just like
I think so.
Potentially a more delicious.
It was a strawberry one though, right? I'm not. Yeah.
I wasn't allowed them.
Really?
I was that kid that
another piece of the puzzle falls into place.
I had the most ethnic lunches.
What would you have? Like carrot sticks, cucumbers?
Yeah, like hummus and all that. Like just it looked like ingredients. It didn't look like.
No, that sounds heaps better than Dunkaroo. What were we talking about? Shaun Lane, a slam dunkaroo. Talk to me.
Oh, my God. Yeah, he's a dunkaroo, mate. So very keen on him. I'm not surprised he's only in 37% of teams. I think we do see this probably even a few weeks out from the start of the season most years. And then I think as people sort of get serious and tinker around with teams, he should hopefully shoot up to 75.
He should be well into the 70s, if not higher,
so
I think.
I hope so. Look, limited time last season, averaged 61 minutes per game because of injuries and injury interrupted season, 44-point average. We know he's an 80-minute back row at the Eels with high attacking upside, averaged 69 in 2022. He could be a season-long keeper.
He's got a gun 5'8" inside him that knows how to utilise him, and he plays for a team that scores a lot of points and concedes a lot of points.
And loves an offload.
Yeah, it's just perfect for Super Coach. Let's move to number 2 on the list. A now member of Rancho Relo Maxo after I drafted him on the weekend. Burbo, Ben Travojevic, 277K. Dual position, absolutely love Burbo. I think he's going to be picked round 1. It sounds like, I think Schuster is staying at home. That's true, Kat? Yeah. Schuster staying at home, not going to Vegas, unlucky. I like Burbo. The injuries worry me. I think I probably will start with him, though.
Yeah, he's not a knockout pick, but 277K, dual position, priced on a 27-point average from 29 minutes. He's a good footballer.
Mad footballer.
Very good footballer. Yep. And look, there's just forever problems around Josh Schuster and his body, whether it's niggling injuries or fitness concerns or whatever it might be. He's now not going to Vegas. Of course, there's risk that Burbo starts round 1, by round 2 gets back to Oz, Schuster starts, Burbo's a 30-minute bench forward trap. It could happen. But, I'm yet to see anything from Schuster this preseason.
I'm kind of starting to like Burbo as a CTW bench guy more than I'm liking some of the Raiders cheapies that we've been relying on. Yeah.
I'm so cold on a lot of the Raiders cheapies.
So am I.
The other thing with Burbo, if he does lock down an 80-minute edge roll, he's a play in your CT dub.
Yeah. 100%.
For sure, which is incredible.
Week in, week out.
Yeah.
Love that. Mate, number 3, Josh Curran, another member of the draft team. Stop it. I believe he's going to play 13. Jamin Salmon looked unreal there the other day in the trial, to his credit. But I don't think the Canterbury Bulldogs have any choice but to play this guy at 13 and play for big minutes. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, they're just light on, aren't they?
Yeah.
As you said, sort of Salmon impressed on the weekend. Sammy Hughes was good, obviously more of a front row forward option. Just so light on. And Curran, we know that when he plays big minutes, he's a Super Coach weapon. Granted, the majority of that has been done playing on the edge for the Warriors, but again, he scores tries, he can jag and assist, loves an offload. He's a perfect Super Coach player when the time is there. And provided it's there at the Doggies this season, lock and load.
My ideal situation with Josh Curran, 60 minutes in the middle. Kick out comes off for a spell. He moves to the left edge. Get him a little bit of Matt Burton and Critter out there. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
I would absolutely love it.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I'd be excited in classic, but draft, oh boy.
I just I want to add that I absolutely love Josh Curran as a pick.
Yeah, you're a big Josh Curran fan.
I'm a big Josh Curran fan. He, in the sport that we don't mention, the game that I used to play, I have won so many head-to-heads with Josh Curran being my pod. And so I just feel great about him in any of these contexts. I just feel like he puts everything behind each ball. He's a workhorse, and I stand by that.
Gave Kat my draft 1 to 17. We went through it this morning. I said, who was your favourite pick? Josh Curran. Got the vote for him. Yeah, love that. Awesome.
Yeah, he is the man.
Viliama Fafita, Ruben Cotter. We've spoken about these guys. Coming in at number 6 on the list, Jed Cartwright. I could have given you a million guesses who was number 6 overall. I don't think Jed Cartwright would have got a bait. But the Rook.
Yes. I'm going to expose myself.
Cat's like, yes, that is I.
Yes. Hello,
Tell us why.
I am the Rook. So when I was filling out my team, obviously you can't save until every spot's full. And I thought, I wasn't sure. So I just pressed the optimize button. Okay. I know, I'm exposing myself. And guess who popped into my team? Jed Cartwright.
Cartwright.
Are the Bunnies paying a bit of extra money to get Jed in some teams? I'm obviously joking about that. But, I mean, that could explain some of this ownership stuff.
Bowled by the Bunnies to pay a bit extra, seeing he's at the Newcastle Knights.
Oh, sorry, my
Yeah,
bad.
huge.
What is the Rook doing over there?
Oh, how
Questionable,
embarrassing.
salary cap
Optimised
management.
button, getting teams wrong.
No.
What is going on?
Showing the true colours.
Unbelievable.
I think that was a Freudian slip. To be fair.
Yeah, Jed Cartwright, no bueno. Brendan Piakura, 426k. Wow, he looked good the other day.
Don't you hate seeing, it sounds so ridiculous, but seeing your Supercoach players go well in trials?
Yeah.
Because he was locked into my team from a long time out. And then as soon as he scored a double in that trial over, albeit a weakened Cowboys team, you just know everyone's flocking to him. So, yeah, he's also under an injury cloud.
Yeah, that's true.
If he's expected, he's still a chance to play round 1 to knee injury. I think if he was due back round 2 or 3, I'd probably just pick him anyway.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to want him.
Yeah, I think we're going to want him regardless.
Priced on a 42-point average from 57 minutes last year, 5 65-plus minute games last season averaged 59.6. In that time, 39.4, which is pretty solid. So I've mentioned before, as both an NRL player and an NRL Super Coach player, he reminds me of Britton Nickera. He's going to have a few 40, 45-point games, I think, in Super Coach. But he'll also have tons because he's a great try scorer.
Yeah, got a heap of ability. I think I will have him in there. Tino, we've already spoken about. Tallis Duncan, 321k. I sort of had him in there for parts of the season, but I'm sort of cooling on him as a Supercoach option. What are your thoughts?
I mean, spent time in the middle last year, named and played in the middle again last season, in the trial game over the weekend. A bloke that I was keen on as well. I think he's got a ton of ability, but with Jai Arrow playing on the edge in the Charity Shield, it does look as though Tallis Duncan's probably going, I think he'll be on the bench, but he's far from locked into it. So, especially at 320k, he'd need to be a starting edge back row to buy.
Yep.
Until that happens. Even if named on the bench, I can't go near him.
I'll tell you what, if we do get an injury at South Sydney in that pack and he comes in,
Thank you.
Lock and load. Thanks for coming. Bo Fermor, 467k. We haven't seen him yet in the preseason. Probably a big watch for this weekend, mate. But I like him.
Huge watch.
Yep.
And the Fafita injury helps him so much because we know that he did all this damage. I think he scored 11 tries back in 2022 and it was all on that left edge, which is obviously the Titans' best edge. Kieran Foran there. If Fafita was there, we sort of spoke earlier in the season before the Fafita injury and suspected he'd be on the right, Fermor.
Yep.
This could see him play on the left. He could still play on the right because they'll be preparing for Fafita's return. But either way, at the price, he's got attacking upside. The return from the ACL does concern me, but he's significantly discounted because I don't think he played a game last year. He looks like a good bet. The Titans have a great early draw. They do have the early bye, but aside from that, yeah, he looks the goods.
I'll tell you what, if Bo Fermor runs out this weekend on the left edge, I'm going to be a greedy little piglet and swallow him up. I am very, very excited.
Dun Cruz and Bo Fermor.
Yeah, there's a bit getting around. Now, another watch coming up is Maverick Geyer. I believe that he has gone to England. I believe that he might get a bench spot. So similar to my mate that I mentioned earlier, Liam Henry, Maverick Geyer, a big watch. Maverick Geyer, though, 204k basement price. A guy that has got attacking upside in him. A World Club Challenge watch and a team list watch, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, prior to seeing that, of course, like, is he edge specialist or can he spend time in the middle?
He can play middle as well, but I think he's better on the edge. But I haven't actually watched a stack of him in the last year. I think he'll play. I'm not sure how they'll use him off the bench, but it sounds like he's going to be there.
Yeah. So World Club Challenge might be a bit different, but you know Sorensen and Martin are more often than not 80-minute back rowers. Maybe early in the year just to give him a bit of a spell, or whatever it is. They might play 60. Even then, Maverick might play 20 minutes. Yeah, I think in that side, he'd probably need to be starting.
Yeah.
But
fair.
yeah, great watch. It's good that we get a proper hit out in the World Club Challenge. If he does play, you get a look at him.
Yeah. And I think that even if he's not a fantastic option, I think it's good to have him as a last option.
Yeah.
If need be. Dylan Egan from the Dragons. We heard big raps coming out of that scrimmage the other day with the Manly Seagulls. If he's named, we'll talk about it, but I'm not going to spend too much time on him until then.
Yeah, not convinced he gets named, and if he does, yeah, we'll reassess.
Suawong, 462K. I absolutely love this fucker, but off the back of trials on the weekend and how they utilised their back row. They started with Butcher on the right, Satilli on the left, moved Satilli into the middle. I thought good as gold. Wong will come onto that edge. Angus came on. Wong didn't come on until Butcher went off. Love Wong. I don't think I'll be starting with him, though. We'll wait for team lists, and if he gets named to start, I will flip my lid, but right now I'm cooling.
Yeah, mate. Wong could be anything for the Roosters New South Wales Cup side this season.
Hurtful. Very hurtful. When he is dominating for Rancho Relo Maxo by the end of the year, you're all going to hear about it.
The entire Roosters back row, let's just cover them in one hit because they're round one team list watch. Angus Crichton looks as though... Well, I think he came on the edge in the trial.
Correct, left edge.
Yeah, but, just he probably a bench player rules him out. Satilli Tupanua's, I think, 398K, comes in at a massive price reduction, looked good in the trial, scored a great try. Just huge watches all around in that Roosters forward pack, even including blokes we spoke about, May, Lenu, what that round one team looks like. But Tupanua becomes an option if he starts. We'll be keeping an eye on it all.
I think we're not going to see the Roosters again until Vegas, so that's all the information we've got. I think I'll be leaving. I thought I was going to definitely start with a Rooster. I don't think I'll be starting with any of them. I'm happy to sit and watch the first few weeks. The other side of this is too that they've all got attacking upside. There's a lot of positives to them, but if the Roosters start slow, which they tend to, you might not going to want any of them.
Exactly right. And they had a gun trial on the weekend. So
it just sounds like the roof's about to cave in, so we're just a little bit nervous.
We've got the apocalypse is just dropping outside, and it sort of caught Guru's attention. He's waiting for the roof to cave in on us.
You two can hear that though, right?
Good.
This is going to be a good test of the CBA Centre of Excellence.
Will it ever?
Does the roof hold up?
Yeah, this is a few repeat sets in a row, so we'll see how we go.
You back with us, mate, or?
What's that?
You back with us?
Yeah, I'm very nervous though.
I think I caught a little bit of Guru just like drifting off and staring at the ceiling.
Yeah, good go. Okay.
Sorry about that.
Fantastic. All right, let's continue before I get drowned. Cam Murray, 639K. Any interest here? The number one fucking fan club member of the Cam Murray club. You like him more than his missus does. Talk to me.
He was in my team for a lot of the preseason, and I wanted him so bad. We didn't actually touch on the structure of our 2RF at the start of the positions,
correct.
But there are so many great mid-range buys around that 4 to 450K mark that I just can't justify squeezing him in. I think the best value position by a mile is 2RF this year.
Yeah.
And some of the best buys there. If I could start with 15 of them, I probably will, because I think that's where the value is and some points going upside. And as a result, unfortunately, I can't get Cam Murray in. But, I'll be honest, I think he starts underpriced. 68 minutes per game last season, 50 base in that time. I think he'll get a heap more attack this season. He was rock solid anyway. Even in reduced game time, he averaged 69 back in 59 minutes in 2019. Going back a while now, but Cam Murray's such a good footballer. Anyway, I've had my spiel and I can't fit him in.
From your man love to my man love, Jermaine Hopgood.
Went from Wong to Murray to Hopgood.
I love that. 748K. He's just too expensive, isn't he? And I just don't trust Brad Arthur.
He is too expensive, and for the reasons I just mentioned with Cam Murray, you can't start with him. I did have, in the analysis on the SC Playbook site, some good shit around him though. Jermaine Hopgood, last season, so 57 in base. His lowest score all year was 43. That was against the Broncos. That was in 45 minutes of game time. That was around round 8 or 9 or so when he'd played huge minutes leading into it, and Arthur just randomly played him off the bench and gave him a spell because he'd had such big minutes. Outside of that, didn't score under 50 all year.
Yeah.
And then remember, everyone fire-sailed him last year because after that, he played off the bench.
Oh, yeah.
Thank God we stuck strong. I think I had him till about round 25 or so.
Yeah, you really held my belt on that call. That was good stuff.
Yeah, and I've got you, mate. But yes, Hopgood, can't wait to get him into my team, but won't be happening before probably round 7 or 8 at best.
Yeah, fair. Dylan Lucas, we haven't spoken about him yet today, scored 2 tries on the weekend, looked very good. I still think Paass, Paul and him are going to sort of fuck each other up. I think they're going to steal points off each other in the first few weeks. What are your thoughts?
I think the same.
Yeah.
If Tyson Frizzell got injured, I'd be starting the 2 Knights back rows in my team because Dylan Lucas' dual 2RF CT dub.
Yeah.
I really would. I'd be happy as with both of them. Dylan Luke, but I think you're right. I think they're just going to chop into each other's minutes. Dylan Lucas last year averaged 70.25 in his 4 80-minute games with 56 in base. He's 502k, scored 2 great tries in the trial on the weekend, so he has attacking upside. It is going to be that left edge. We speculated that maybe Frizzell was going to shift to the left. It looks as though whoever wins it out of Lucas and Paass Paul will be on the left now. Great spot outside Kalen Ponga. Yeah, I want them both, him and Paass Paul, because Paass Paul's like 330 or 340k, but they could just kill each other.
Yeah, great spot to be with KP, but also a great spot to be with Jackson Hastings. Loves to use his back rower.
Well, that's it. And it's like we mentioned the left edge of the bunnies where they get cut out all the time. KP's ability to put his back rower through is second to none, in my opinion, in World Rugby League. I was going to say NRL, in the world. And you're right, Jacko plays short all the time as well.
And you even have a look at Lachlan Fitzgibbon. Like, he averaged 60 last year, Lockie Fitzgibbon. And every time he had an offload, KP fucking scored. It was unbelievable.
He looked like the best back rower in the world also, outside KP and Jacko there.
Yeah, he was flying. So, Jeez, when you said, I hadn't even thought about if Tyson Frizzell got injured. Could you imagine that?
I'd plug them both straight into my team.
Wow. Okay. One to keep an eye on there. That covers Paass Paul as well. Jack Howarth. See much of this kid?
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him. Yeah.
Neither is Craig Bellamy, evidently.
Yeah. No, not for me. We'll if we get to round 1 and his name just start, I'll begrudgingly have this conversation. But even on the bench, I actually wouldn't look at him. I don't trust he's going to hold a spot there.
There aren't many edge back rows I'd pick off the bench. They need to start. Forwards, middle forwards, props, they can get decent minutes and it doesn't change too much. But edges, you kind of need them starting.
Homole Olakawatu, 7%. I actually don't mind him as a little pod play. Won't be doing it myself. 700k is a lot.
Won't be doing it for reasons already mentioned, but Olakawatu could, over the next 1 to 3 seasons, go into that elite for feeder category.
Yeah.
If he starts having 15 to 20 runs a game and he's got such great Supercoach scoring ability. He's one of the best tackle busters in the game. Offloads, scores tries, amazing under crossfield kicks, everything. He could hit the elite category this season, but just at the price, not early. He could be a terrific one of these mid-range 2RFs, upgrade round 5-6.
Yeah. Shaun Law, big watch this weekend. He would need to impress this weekend. He would need to get a starting spot. Agreed? He
would need to start, and if he does, I'm certainly interested.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Dave Fafita out until round 5. We'll talk about that when the time comes, and I look forward to it. Mate, you ready for one of the great guru backflips of all time? Do you know what I'm going to say?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. I think I'm going to start with him.
Morgan Smithies.
Oh, mate, I watched that tape of him a few months ago and I said to you, mate, this bloke's got no attacking upside. He's got nothing going for him. And you said, mate, he's going to defend his dick off. He's going to get a heap of base stats. And I sort of went, I want upside. No, thanks. We spoke to a couple of Canberra Raiders people last week or so. They could not speak highly of him. I went back and actually watched some games. Mate, he's got games over in England where there's a game that he had 62 tackles and 19 runs. I drafted him the other day, round 16. I'm high as fuck on him now. I think I'm going to start with him. And I am not even apologising to anyone.
Oh, I mean, you can start with me.
Have your way with me.
Yeah, shock guru.
I'll wear this one.
Shock guru. Disagrees with me early on and then backflips when I convince him otherwise. Another year, another piece of advice taken from the left side of the studio.
This one's fair and completely warranted.
He made 55 tackles, I think it was in the grand final last year.
Yeah. He's only 22 years old.
Yeah.
Doesn't have any injury concerns.
345k.
Yeah. And you know what? Everyone at the Raiders was mentioned the other day that he's got a bit of ball playing to him, which I haven't seen, but give you the hot tip, they'd probably know better than me. So I'm happy to back that in. And by the sound of this guy, he just feels like he's got Ricky Stewart written on his forehead to me.
Yeah, and the other thing about him in that ball playing, again, looking forward to seeing it in action, but with so many gun front rows, like middle forwards around him and edges, whatever, just little tip-ons for try assists.
Yeah.
Like, holds the ball for 3 seconds, passes to Joe Tapney, who beats 4 and scores, and he gets a try assist. Like, Cam Murray gets a few of those just off the back of, again, he's a good ball player, but they're so good because they don't have to do a lot for them.
Is he in your team right now?
As it stands right now, he's not, but he's every chance of, like, he probably comes in.
Do you think he'll play this weekend for Canberra?
Why wouldn't he?
Okay, good. I'm keen to watch him.
I don't know why he wouldn't.
Yeah, okay, fair. Keen to see him. Going through the list, we already touched on Angus Crichton, Tilly Tupanua, Kobe Hetherington. If he's named to start at 13, they move Carrigan to the front row. I'll look at him. I don't think that's going to happen, though.
God, I hope they don't. I don't need another mid-ranger. Like I just said that I'm keen as on Smithies, but he's currently not in my team. So, look, if they go Carrigan front row and he starts at lock, happy days, come in.
I have a horrible habit on draft day of drafting too many 2RFs, and I've done it again this year. Britton Nikora is the next on the list. I'm starting to realise how many of these fuckers I've actually got. 710K. I think he's... I don't know. If you said to me he's the best second rower in rugby league, I go, sure, I understand where you're coming from. I think he's probably the most consistent second rower in rugby league.
He's unreal.
He's fantastic. I won't be starting with him, but I will have my eyes on him at some point.
Yeah, definitely, mate. And a nice start to the season for the Sharkies draw-wise, but can't wait to get him into my team at some point. But at 710K, way too much value elsewhere.
Luciano Leilua departing the Cowboys reportedly throws a little spanner in the works. Some names that come to mind: Finay Fuiaki, Helam Lukey. I'm expecting Helam Lukey to get a gig there.
Yeah, thinking Nanai and Lukey starting edge back rollers. Finay Fuiaki probably off the bench, but not necessarily.
Yeah. If it's Finay Fuiaki that starts, you've got my attention at 290K. Helam Lukey, 470K. Maybe he can make money there, but I don't trust he'll play 80 minutes. So I wouldn't be going there.
If Finay Fuiaki starts, for sure.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
I don't think he will, though. I like Helam Lukey.
Yeah.
Always have, always will. Cannot take a trick with injuries, the poor bugger.
Yes.
He's such a good footballer. He's so athletic. He has a great Supercoach game. His base is okay without being terrific, but the attacking upside is unreal. Averaged 47 minutes per game last year. I'm with you. Why do you think he hasn't been an 80-minute back row? Do you think it's the injuries? It always has to be because he looks fit as a fiddle.
Yeah, he looks very fit. I don't know. You would have to assume so.
Yeah, and like I've gone through recent years. There's I don't know if there's an 80-minute game to boot.
Yeah, and maybe it's because they have so much depth in the back row as well. But
But Supercoach-wise, 47 minutes last year, maybe he goes to 65. That'd be enough. I think he could be a great buy. But I've got him sort of flirting around my team. I wouldn't mind getting him in. Again, so many good buys for even 50 to 60K cheaper. So just a monitor, but I'm pretty keen on him.
Hudson Young, Isaiah Yeo, Jacob Preston, Jordan Ricky, Keon Kolomantangi, Tom Gilbert, Jake Granville, Kirk Catewell, Trey Mooney, Matt Croker, Bronson Garlick, Connor Watson, Carl Lawton, Tommy Eisenhuth.
He's the centre, chat. I think we spoke about him in centres, surely.
Sweet. Jack DeBellin, Torhu Harris. Fuck, you love a slice of Torhu. Any interest?
A lot of food chat in this podcast.
It's a hungry one, Tuesday.
Torhu, no, mate, not at the price. He was unreal last season, but too expensive and too big an injury history. One for down the track.
Katoga, who was very good for the Bulldogs on the weekend in that trial, 204K. I just can't see him getting into that team, but he could be interesting at some point, I reckon.
Yeah, Torhu was also dual 2RF front row last year. That's why we loved him.
That's why
we get him at front row. He's only 2RF this year, so
yeah.
No, thank you. Katoga looked awesome in the trial, very destructive.
Yeah.
Big chance to feature this year in Supercoach teams, but I can't imagine it being round one.
Yep, completely agree. Pasami Solo, 300K for the Raiders. Just too much depth there, isn't there?
Yep.
Nas, Tepai Moroa, Josh Schuster, 460K. Not going to Vegas, unlikely to feature, right?
Don't even know why you brought him up, mate.
I apologise. Frizzell, Bunty Arfoa, Mitchy Barnett. Shout out to Kempy who called him Bitchy Marnett at one point. That was hilarious. Josh Kerr, 349K. I thought he looked good in the trial the other day, but I think there will be better options.
Did the same last year in the All-Stars. Love him as a footballer. I think he can be a Supercoach weapon. He just needs the minutes, and as it stands in that Dolphins pack, he's not going to get enough to be relevant.
Eli Katoa, any interest?
Yeah. I mean, no, because I'm not paying up for him.
Yep.
For the millionth time, too many good mid-rangers. But I think he was 69 minutes per game last year. His combination with Jerome Hughes only getting better. Heaps of attacking upside. They've got Penrith in round 1. They've got a bye in round 4, I think it is. So I can't go near him, but he could be elite to RF this year.
Raymond Faitala Mariner moving to the St George Illawarra Dragons. If he gets good minutes there, 363K. I feel like he's going to be a good Supercoach player for a decade now.
Yeah.
Not for me. Any interest?
Paass.
Cam McInnes, Josh King, Isaac Liu, Jack Bird. Shout out Jack Bird. Looked unreal on the weekend. Isaiah Papali'i, Adam Elliott.
Isaiah Papali'i was around my preseason draft sides for a little bit. 568K. That is a good price for a bloke. He averaged 56 last year in a terrible Tigers outfit. The years prior, I know the Eels, they're a very good team, but averaged 79 and 78. He was the best in the game. Just getting up his stats as we speak, but he scored 2 tries last year. I guarantee he scores more than 2 this year, and had 1 try assist, which didn't come with a line assist to boot. I actually think he's a great buy. I'm not going to say great buy because there's better value elsewhere, but if there wasn't so many good mid-rangers, I would have picked IPAT.
You always have a little soft spot for
He's a
him.
gun.
Eh? He is a gun, yeah.
Even in the trial on the weekend he played, he looks so good.
Calm down. It's okay. It's okay, buddy. No, I agree with you.
I'm picking him.
Mate, a guy that I wouldn't be surprised if he comes from the clouds in round 1 is this Jacob Lehman from the New Zealand Warriors, 204K. They've signed Kurt Capewell. Kurt Capewell traditionally plays left edge back row. We saw Jackson Ford play there the other day. Unless they're going to play Kurt Capewell on the right, I actually reckon he's a sniff to get a bait in this side.
Could they, you think just Capewell spends time in the middle?
Maybe. But they've got Nekore, they've got Barnett, they've got I don't know. I thought Jackson Ford would play right side on the weekend. He didn't. This Laban did. He was very impressive. I reckon he could be a little smoky for round 1.
Jeez, it'd be nice.
It'd be fucking delicious.
Again,
I'd take it. It'd be unreal.
Don't need it, but
I reckon he's a big watch. And if he's there on team list, we take him in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Murdoch Masilla, Preston Ricky, Nat Butcher, Puru, Seafarth. Shout out to the guy on Twitter that started a parody Twitter account of me called the Puru. I thought that was fantastic. So credit to you.
Is it a friendly one or is it a hater?
No, it actually seems somewhat friendly, I think.
That's right.
But
then,
we'll see. I don't know. No stranger to a hater on Twitter, so
I'll turn the comments soon enough.
join the queue, bread. Bread and butter. Jackson Ford, Ray Stone, Aloye, Whitehead, Teague, Couchman, The Peach, Ryan Madison. Any interest in Matter?
No.
Luke Garner, Asukapoa, Connolly Lemuelu, Zion, I've sent off in a trial fame, Fanua Bole, Cleese Haas, Kurt Mann, Johnny Bateman. I think I had him at one point last year. Haven't seen him yet, but I'm not interested in Bateman.
Not interested, and I'm not interested in Haas either, but there's a Dave Fafita-sized hole to start on the edge for the Titans, but what's he cost? He's way more expensive than I thought.
Yeah, he scored a couple of tries and shit last year from memory.
He's 356K. I was going to say if he was 240 or something, but even if he gets it, 356K with Fafita coming back, no thanks.
Mate, I thought in the trial the other day I wouldn't start with him, but I did think he looked good, Jaden Sewer. Not a guy that I would ever even consider, but I thought his form looked good the other day. Mate, Luciano Leilua, 545K, probably more than I want to spend at the moment. A lot of unknowns there. If he does land at the Canberra Raiders, firstly, have you got any mail on that?
I do not.
Do not? If he was to land there, do you think he could be relevant at the Raiders, or do you think he just becomes a bit of a middle forward there?
I don't think he'd get.
Does he make your team, actually?
It's ridiculous. I don't get it. We do not need Luciano Leilua. We need everything but forward. Who can go between middle and edge.
I'd love to see another Leilua in Canberra. That'd be unreal. Get the band back together.
Great
I believe
footballer.
Joey's playing for Dapto.
Yeah, the Canaries.
Yeah, how good.
Mighty blue and gold.
Coached by the great Blake Wallace down there. Shout out to him, doing good things. Mate, just going through the rest of this list, no one's really jumping out at me. I thought White from the Roosters was very good on the weekend. I reckon he's a good shot just to play round one because JWH is out, but I think he will fade from relevance very quickly. Just going down that list, mate, no one else is jumping out to me. Is there anything else you want to mention or anyone you want to mention?
No, mate, I think we've covered it all pretty well.
I think we'll have a much better idea of 2RFs after the trials this weekend. Unfortunately, it won't solve that Roosters problem for us, but I think that's a wait and see. And honestly, there is every chance we get to round 7 and we're still like, well, who's the winner for the Roosters?
There's the other bloke you mentioned, like Jarrett Hargreaves, when he comes back in round 2, how does that impact everything? Like,
Yeah. I think big watches for trials this weekend as far as 2RFs. Sean Blaw, Kai Pearce-Paul. They are big watches. Yeah. I want to see I know Berber's not going to be playing this weekend, so probably those two are the big watches. Is there anyone else, mate, that people should be keenly keeping an eye on this weekend? Josh Curran's another one.
Yeah, I was just say Josh Curran's one that I'll have my eye keenly on. One that I'm very interested in for round 1 in my team at the moment, but not locked in.
Yeah, and I think for the World Club Challenge, Maverick Geyer as well.
Yep.
Keep an eye on him. All right, Kat, what did you take from today? What changes have you made? Talk to us, tell us, enlighten us, educate us.
Okay. First of all, don't use the optimize button.
Yes.
Second of all,
shout.
and also don't tell people that you've done that. Second of all,
You should have done that in the reverse order, I think.
Yeah. Redo my entire team. So pretty much all the things that I was looking at, all the players I was looking at, I'm reconsidering. So outside of Josh Curran, I'm now back to square one, which is fantastic. But the good thing is I feel a little bit more clarity around certain players that I want to bring in. But I think I'm going to be a little cagey until I tell you who those are.
Cards close to the chest.
Don't hate it.
Yeah.
I'm exposing myself too much too soon. So we're going to pace ourselves.
Very good news, guys. The studio has not fallen into a heap. The roof has not caved, which is fantastic news.
Could be one of the great early crows.
Yep. Don't say that. Very nervous, but yes, we've managed to get through. Now, next week, I'm going to Vegas on Tuesday night, so we might have a little earlier recorded episode, potentially before Team List Tuesday. But Timmy on the SC Playbook next week will obviously go through all the live reactions, so plenty to sink your teeth into there. What did you do on the Playbook last night? Who'd you have on?
Mate, Desi Creek, the 2019 champion, back on deck for his first run of the season. Myself and the SC Spy, going through a few things, mate. Draw analysis, the best, worst draws of the season, trial takes, some good stuff.
Desi's takes are my little guilty pleasures sometimes.
They're the best. Some of Desi's takes, I just shake my head out and go, mate, you're kidding yourself, but the bloke every single year seems to get it done and doesn't miss too often. So it's enjoyable to be alongside.
It feels like with Desi, there's A to B in a straight line, and Desi does it like he's having a heart attack.
Yeah.
But then he'll meet you at B.
Yeah.
He'll be there. And he looks like he's been through a tsunami on the way. But yeah.
It's not an easy road, but he manages to do it in his own way, and that's what we love about it. So yeah.
Good gear. How good. Kat, anything doing?
No, I was just going to say Desi reminds me a lot of myself and making decisions for my Super Coach team.
I look forward to when you meet Desi.
Yeah.
We're going to reflect on
Great
that comment. That's unreal. All right. We done and dusted?
Sorted.
Shout out to Blue Earth Property. Link is in the bio. We reached out for sponsors last week. Had quite a few reach out, to be fair. So I'm sure we'll be bringing some people on board. But if anyone else is keen, please reach out. SC Playbook, Guru, Kat Haddad. Reach out to her. That'll be easier for me.
Heaps easier.
beersandbreakevens@gmail.com if you are interested. Capiche?
Killed it, mate. Nice.
Cheers, guys. See you next week.